Okay, so this is a presentation about technology risk, and hope, hopefully keep it two way. I've made a presentation. There's a lot to talk about, but everyone has their own sort of approaches, problems, etc. So I will encourage you to make it two way. If you can see my screen, the reason why I want to talk about technology risk. Uh, for you know for all of us here is there's a lot of shortage for people who have technology risk who have technology risk certifications understanding can do so. There's lots of jobs. I am recently hiring a senior manager in my team. Across other teams, I know that there are multiple senior manager, director, senior director roles that are open, available for technology risk. There's very, very, very good amount of job opportunities. Just to give you a background, I came to Canada in 2022, and I got the job at CIBC because of my past experience in technology risk. My first job was as a manager, but they quickly promoted me to director, and I see that this happens with many, many, many people. So everyone on the call, please take this as a pitch from me to you that please consider technology risk. There's shortage of people. There's a lot of opportunities. The money is good. And, I will show you how you can, being a non-technical person, how you can get into technology. Okay. About me, I will just give 1 second. I know that I introduced kiya tha. I'll give you 1 second. I am a chartered accountant. I did my CA in 2012. My background is BCom, bachelor's in commerce. So I don't have any technology engineering background. Over the years, I started my journey. I realized that you know there's there's growth in technology. In 2015, I saw that there was when I was working at EY, I saw that there was a lot of growth in technology risk, technology consulting, technology audits, etc. And so I gave my CISA in 2015. Now, just to help you understand that it's very easy for everyone, in my CA in the ISACA exam, I scored in the first attempt. I scored 10 out of 100. So I'm not particularly very good in technology, as I don't have some background, some great background or anything. I'm a very, very normal commerce, finance, bania, and if I can do it, anyone in the world can do it, is what I would say. So that's in 2015. I gave the exam. Uh, I will walk you through a little bit about the exam, but because it was, I was worried about it, I spent 6 months. Now, I would recommend everyone to not spend more than 1 month, but everyone to their own. So I spent 6 months and I got a global rank because I spent so much. I studied really hard and I got a global rank. And then from there, I kept giving other and other exams to become more and more technology proficient. So that is my journey around technology risk. Now, um, for anyone starting their first steps in technology risk, I will say that the best way to do it is the way I did it. I think it's the best way for chartered accountants is to get into the CISA exam, right? The CISA exam is not too different from the ISACA subject that we have in CA final. I don't know if it's still there or not, but back when in 2012, when I gave my exam, it was very much there. So if any of y'all have studied ISACA in your CA, then the CISA exam is not very different from ISACA in that perspective. Okay, it's a 4-hour exam, 150 MCQs, and you get a score between 200 to 800. Passing is 450, and this can be given fully remote. So if anyone has not given a fully remote exam, the way it works is you have your laptop. They ask you to be prepared. They ask you to do some software tests on your laptop. Most likely, if your laptop can open Facebook, your laptop is good to go. Okay, so that's how you are use that's the technical requirements for the exam. And then they ask you to turn around. They ask you to switch on the camera on your laptop and turn around the entire thing. They'll ask you to show you all the four walls, what's under the table, what's on your sides, etc. They will ask you to do that during the exam through your video camera, and during the entire exam of 4 hours you have to keep your video camera on. Now that's it. You give the exam online, sitting on your laptop. They make sure that you don't cheat. It's very hard to cheat during that exam. You get some breaks, but it's very, very difficult to cheat the way the exam is structured. I would not recommend anyone to cheat as well. But yeah, so you can sit in the comfort of your home, select the appointment. If you want to give it next Sunday, you can give it next Sunday. It's almost like that. So you select the appointment when you want to give the exam, then you go for it, right? Giving the exam is fairly straightforward. I would for 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 me, I've given like a lot of exams, and all of these are fully virtual type exams. My only consideration in exams is not as it's not as, the subject matter is not as hard. The subject matter is pretty something that I can always tackle. Most students can always tackle, but sitting those 4, 5, 6 hours and being as sharp during those all those 4 hours is a personal challenge for me. Everyone has their own challenges, but that's what I face. So I will say, sleep well, eat well, all of that before the exam. So that's the high level about the CISA exam. The fee is $575 for membership, and I'll explain how that cost works in a bit in a little bit. But you know, so $575 for the exam, so not very expensive. Yeah, I'll put it this way. Let's say your total cost for the exam is $1,000, everything put together, study material, you buy some stuff, etc. Everything put together is $1,000 US, so 1,300 or 1,400 CAD, right? This 1,400 CAD you will recover not within the first year of your exam, not within the first month of your exam. You will recover within the first 15 days paycheck. CISA exam gives you that kind of a jump in salary. Just like, to give you an example, most typical, IT audit starting salary starts at 100,000 CAD in Canada. That's the starting salary. And then like I said, there's a lot of growth, and the growth is not, it's different. So in IT audits, the growths are, it can go 20%, 15%, 20% year on year, right? 30% year on year. I, I know it happens. It's very common, right? So there's a lot of good money. Imagine 30% year on year. So over 5 years, how much is that ROI, right? So there's a lot of good money. And so giving the CISA exam, spending $1,500, not drop in the ocean on the earth. If there was a stock which had that kind of an ROI, I would buy it today. Similarly, that's what I will say about the CISA exam. The ROI on the CISA is unmatched, better than CPA. And I say this from my personal experience, better than the CPA Canada, which costs as much. But the CPA Canada, first of all, there's, I don't know, maybe 100,000 CPAs, right? We're all vying for the same jobs. The jobs start at lower pay, and then the promotions are equally competitive, and there are as fewer opportunities. There are lots of people already available, and so there's very, very limited jobs with a lot of competition. The only obvious advantage is with the CPA is that you can do your own business, which, of course, you can make a lot of money with that, and the sky is the limit. But from a job perspective, the CPA is very competitive. There's a lot of pool, and there's fewer jobs, and the jobs are not high paying. On the flip side, for the CISA, um, one, there's very, very, like I said, I am hiring for a senior manager in my team. We've been struggling to get people. And believe me, there's not much talent in the market, right? So there are not many people. Similarly, there's, uh, my peers and others that I know of are hiring audit managers, senior managers. People are hiring, directors, senior directors, others that I know of, and like it pays very well. Like there's absolute shortage. There's not enough people out there who have the credential, and there's not enough people who have some sort of work experience, and it's just a tragedy. So again, so $575 for the CISA exam. 575 if you are a member. Okay, so membership costs $145 for a professional, but there are discounts. So if you're a recent graduate from a university, so if you have graduated within 2 years from a recognized university, then instead of 145 membership fees, the cost is $68. And if you're a student in a recognized university, then the membership cost is $25. So The membership cost is 145, except in certain conditions, $25.68. Otherwise, the exam fees are $575 for members. If you are not a member and if you don't want to take membership before giving the exam, I don't think that's the best thing to do. But if you want to do that, then the non-membership fees are $760. There are no disadvantages except that membership after 5 years after 3 years or 5 years you get a silver medal, and then you get a bronze medal, silver medal, and gold medal, and this increases your visibility in some searches. So I would say be a member from day one. I think it's uh, better, more logical from a money perspective as well, and also you start earning those credentials of tenure of the membership from day one. So all in all, okay, it's $575 plus 145 in most cases. Uh, you need 5 years of experience to be a uh, to so clearing the exam and getting the CISA credential are two different things. So you can pass the exam, but get the CISA credential, you need some experience. So 5 years of demonstrated experience in information security audit, or 2 years of experience plus if you have like related other certifications or university degrees. For people who are interested, we can have these chats. These things you can reach out to me, and I'll show you how that can be done. When I gave my CISA exam, I had no prior IT audit, cybersecurity experience. Also, this was my first certification, right? But I was able to get the waivers for 3 years because of my ISACA. And then, I requested my mentor in my company, and they saw that, I was doing some similar audit sort of activity. So they gave me that 2 years of experience and I was recognized as a CISA member with the CISA credential from day one. So the last 2 points I would say, you can reach out to me, Jamin, on ICP. You can message me, or you can message me on LinkedIn anytime, and we can talk about it. But all in all, this is the broad overview about the CISA exam. There's other elements to take care of. The code of ethics, you have to agree to the CISA ISACA code of professional ethics, and you'll see it's pretty standard cookie clutter stuff, not too different from the ethics that we have in CA. And then annually, you have to maintain your CPA credits. Again, anyone interested to get deeper into this, please reach out to me. Um, I spoke about career opportunities. So yes, so this is just all of these slides are made from ChatGPT. So don't focus too much on the slides. Focus on what I'm trying to tell you, because what I'm saying is from experience as a chartered accountant who was moved into IT audits. But yeah, it's all true. Um, just to give you an example, when I gave my CISA, I was working at EY. Okay. And then, I gave the CISA, I got that, whatever rank and all that. Um, the first and this was in India, but in 2015, the first jump I got was 100% salary increase, right? Every year after that, I've not seen a year where I've not got less than 30 or 40% salary increase. Yes, I've worked on many other credentials and certifications, but I'm talking about money to help you understand the motivations around CSUN. Yes, it's a great field, a lot of technical assessment knowledge and all of that, but there's good money, right? So please be motivated. If I can motivate you in 1% to, get into this role and get into these exams, then, job well done for me today, right? So, so about the exam, the audit process, I think if you've ever done an audit in your life, then this particular 21% segment, very easy to understand. It'll be a slam dunk for most people, especially Indian chartered accountants, and especially those who have done audits in their life. It'll be a slam dunk. It's very easy. Governance and management of IT. This will probably be a part where you'll have to do some sort of studying and things like that. Yeah, it's a little bit of a study, but it's not rocket science. The next is information systems acquisition and SDLC and implementation, which is basically software acquisition, development, and implementation. So yeah, that's again probably a little bit of studying. So that's 12% and 17%. So uh, we are standing at 29%, which is new. And then the next two segments are, I think, when I was doing my CA, these were basically there as is. So there was nothing really new here. Information, ops resilience is the next segment, and protection of information assets. It's also anyone with some sort of experience working in an industry sort of know a lot of these things more or less. It's not rocket science. It's not very difficult. Honestly, it's very, I don't know how others feel about it. There's a lot of people think that like, Sheros talk about CFA. I gave the CFA to level 1 and I gave up after that because it's too tough. And I didn't see the ROI honestly for myself, but like the time invested and kind of job opportunities, because there's just so much. It's very very competitive to have that stand out for yourself. But this is like I used to I spent 6 months, but you know if you spend like 2 months or 3 months, study weekends, 4 hours, I think you can make it. And please reach out to me if you need help. But it's really not that tough. It's a lot of these things are commonsensical. There's really nothing too technical. CISA is not technical at all. I would say it's not really technical. So it's pretty. And then that gets you the first job, right? If once you're a CISA, you get the first entry level job. Hopefully, if you've got significant audit experience, or any other experience, then you may not even need to get into an entry level job. You might get into a upwards senior manager. Like an entry level job in for a CISA is like a GRC manager or an IT audit manager or something of that sort, right? Which is usually fresh out of college in Canada. And again, like I said, those pay decent, right? They pay 100,000 base, right, with variable with works, etc. But like in one of the good companies, like I would say 90 to 100,000 is fair to expect base, right? That's entry level. Once you have your CISA, I can guarantee you that that's not too hard to do. If you have internal audit background, you'd be better off. If you don't have like internal audit or compliance or those kind of backgrounds, I would I would still say you can get, like, it's not very hard. GRC manager. GRC stands for governance, risk, and compliance. So GRC manager or um, controls manager, all of those things. Yeah. So high level, that's the CISA exam. I
So,
talked about.
Jamin, there are a couple of questions. Like, if a person want to register for this CISA exam, if they want to appear for the CISA exam, is there any prerequisite to a person should be following, or there should be any qualification he need to adhere to before registering, which is requirement
Uh,
from CISA? No, no, anyone can give this exam.
no, and anyone can. No, not no requirement. If you
Mm.
so you can give the exam and you can clear the exam, qualify the exam. No background necessary. To be a CISA member, to be a certified CISA, there's some requirement, like 5 years of audit experience, but you can get 3 years so waived off if you have university degree, right? And then 2 years also can be, if you go to a long-standing member, you can get an attestation from them. But yeah, it's just go to the website, register. I would say register as a member first, and then register for the exam, and then that's it.
And how to register for it? Is it online or
Yeah,
like
it's on the ISACA
just
website. Yeah, it's isaca.org, ISACA.org.
just
That's it.
need to go there and register there? Okay.
Register as a
Eh,
member. There's it's just like creating a new email ID. It's very simple. It's
okay.
really not
Okay.
uh,
I'm done
planning,
with this.
execution, reporting of information security audits. Uh,
Mhm.
reporting of an information security audit, and then uh, it talks about how do you plan, how do you create the audit plan, how do you create the audit scope, etc. So it's not it's that's that section. And then IT governance, organization structure, and resource management is all about technology governance, and then technology organization, technology asset management, uh, you know, uh, things like that. So I would say that's probably a little bit newer for chartered accountants. So that you may have to study a little bit, but it's 17% of the exam, so it's not the most important portion. And the exam does not say that you have to pass each of these sections, right? that's the weightage given to each of these sections. But let's say, you probably need around 70%, 60 to 70%. So the passing score is 450, but they don't actually explain whether that's 50% or that's 20% or that's 90%. But in my experience, if you get like the information systems auditing process, which is very easy for Indian chartered accountants, and then operational resilience and protection of information assets, again, should be very, very, very easy for Indian chartered accountants. That will definitely pass you. And then these two sections, governance and management of IT, and then software development, it's just theory, it's just text. It's really, you give it 2, 3 times, you read it 2, 3 times, and then give some practice exams, questions. Really nothing to it. So it's very, very good. If you want to compare this entire exam to uh, any other exams that you may have given, I will say it is as tough as the CA final IT audit exam. Whatever it was called during your year, it was called the information systems audit and control, something like that exam during my time. But it's just so one paper. It's that as tough as that. So yeah, they give you approximately 100 to 150, so it's not a fixed length. It's the questions are so every question you answer based on the difficulty of that question, you get points. So if that question is rated difficult internally you will not be able to see the difficulty level in the exam. But if ISACA has labeled that question as very difficult, then you will get more points for that answer in that question. So every question has different points for it. And then based on your answers, so you will get progressively more difficult questions based on, so if you're answering the tough questions, then you keep getting more tough questions, and then your points increase to, close to 1,000. If you get a few tough questions wrong, then you will get a few simple questions, but it still doesn't mean anything. You can still pass the exam. Yeah. So, oh, sorry, I'm reading the CISSP exam. I'm so sorry. The CISSP exam. Sorry. Oops. Yeah, but so yeah, it's 150 questions for the CSAT, not 100 to 150. It's 150 questions and 400 4 hours for the exam. Now I'm going to the next one, but yeah, just so CISA is the basic first step. I will say the basic next step is the CISSP exam. Now this is a little bit difficult. Again, it's basic, but slightly more difficult. If you do the CISA and the CISSP, then you're definitely in a very, very small percentage of applicants. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, so the next is the CISSP exam. So yeah, so again, if you have done the CISA, which I will say should be the first exam that you give, and then CISSP is similar, slightly more technical and slightly more difficult. But if you do these two, then you will be on every recruiter's hot list, believe me. And getting a job will be piece of cake. This is slightly more tougher exam than CISA, although similar topics. It is again IT audit, technology risk, cybersecurity risk, all of those similar topics. But CISSP is more in detail, slightly more technical than CISA, and slightly more broader coverage, etc. So once you have done CISA is, I will say, your level 1. This is your level 2. So similar to CISA, CISSP is also an adaptive exam. You have between 100 to 150 questions. It's a 3-hour exam. Now, if you choose some local language, they have an option for local languages, but I don't think in the audience here, will choose a local language like Spanish or Chinese. I don't think they have a local language for Hindi. So most likely all of us are going to say English, but for local language, it's a 6-hour exam. But if you choose English, then it's a 3 hours exam. You have to get 700 out of 1,000. That's the score. It's same thing. It's a graded score, so you can never see how the Like you don't know what each question is scored. Every question is, rated behind the scenes by the exam people. There's one difference between the CISSP and the CISA. The CISA you can give at your home anytime, whenever you want. The CISSP, it's mandatorily you have to go give it at a center. Okay, so you don't have an option to give it at home. That's the only difference. Otherwise, you go to the center in CISSP, and you'll be put in front of a screen, and it's a virtual, it's a multiple choice question. Same thing, except that CISSP you cannot give it from home. Otherwise, it's the same thing. Again, no background necessary for CISSP, no undergraduate degree necessary, no prior qualifications necessary. Similar to the CISA, for the CISSP, you just have to go to the ISC2 website. It's the ISC2, okay, and the number 2. So ISC and the number 2. ISC2 website. I don't have it in my presentation here, but you go to that website and then register for the exam. So, you know, basically same topics, but more in detail here. So governance, compliance, and security policies, that's 15%. That's high level governance, risk and control. Very, very, very important in real life. 15% asset security. That's the technology asset and the life cycle of technology assets. That's 10%. Security architecture and engineering, that is 13%. That correlates to the secure systems development life cycle. So similar topics. And then communications and network security, probably slightly difficult here, more challenging a little bit here, but nevertheless, so 13%. I see a question in the chat, but you can just raise your hand and go ahead.
So the question is, will we receive the study material and access to the online course after registration?
No, no one gives study materials. They all sell it. So you don't get any study material. You have to buy them, and the study materials are pretty expensive. So I I would not recommend, and they're not even very good, to be honest. So I
And
would
how
not.
about CISA? Like CISA
Same.
also
Same.
same, don't have any study material, they have to purchase it online.
You have to purchase it online.
Okay.
There are many options for study materials for CISA and CISSP. Uh, so okay, so here's where my experience will help. That's a good question, and I will explain to you about the study material. So these exams are not your exams, not your, like, I would say forget your, school, college exam experience. If you go to the study material, like the CISSP study material is at least 2000 pages. There's no way you can ever finish it. Yes, CISA exam study material, again, should be in the ballpark range of 800, 900 pages. There's no way anyone can read so much dry technical stuff. It's not even relevant. Okay. So what I do is I buy courses from udemy.com. Okay. And there's a lot of free courses available, or you can buy them for like uh, 49, 50 rupees, or maximum 200, 300 rupees. Some courses are for 500 rupees. Okay. You can buy them online for 400, 500 rupees at most. And they are video lectures. And you can repeat whichever portion you don't understand, listen to them twice. You can also buy question papers online and solve those questions on. That's all you need. Those video materials are 12 hours or at most 10 to 12 hours long, and they are not, they're self-paced. It's the best way to study. If I had to give the CISA exam, that's how I would do it. I would just, go to udemy.com, buy some, search for study material, buy whichever one is highest rank, or you reach out to for any help. uh, right? But this is another way. Just go to udemy.com, buy any study material, $500, whichever one you think is rated well, and give practice questions. If you're not too uh, adventurous, then you reach out to me. I have some study material in my laptop, etc. I can share that with you. It's not recommended. Mine is probably old, but if you still want it, I can give it to you for free. But best is go to udemy.com. Udemy, Udemi. Sorry, Udemy, udemy.com. Just go there, uh, buy study material, video lectures, and then buy test papers, and then solve the test papers. Believe me, you're prepared for the exam. That's all that you need. So going ahead with the CISSP syllabus, right? So network and communications and network security, this one's a little bit tricky. So a little bit, so for someone who does not have technical background, technical knowledge, yeah, this is tough. The next few sections are tough. Identity and access management is definitely not easy for anyone without experience. Security assessment and testing is pretty challenging. So again, it's not easy. Security operations is very easy, and software development security is very easy. So anyone with reasonable amount of motivation can give the exam and clear it. There's no rocket science, but I mean it's a step up from the CISA exam. So definitely. So once you're done with these exams, then I'll come up to the how do you get a job. But just want to take a pause here and ask if there's any questions or anyone who wants to chat. Okay, so I'll go ahead. So once you give these exams, this is where the fun part. So how do you start up applying? How do you get a job, right? So one thing that you have to do is that if what I did, because when I moved from EY to Flipkart, I had no IT audit experience, right? But I gave my CISA exam and I was CISA certified. I had a rank, as I said, but you don't need to get a rank. So what I did was I made sure that my CV reflected all the technical, like as much as technical as I could, right? Align with IT audit or whatever the role was, as much as I could. I cannot fake things because they will challenge me in the interview. But to the extent I can, put a put put an explanation, use the right words from that, how it aligns to IT audit or technology risk or cyber security. Put it that way. And then the hiring managers, they understand that you are a fresher, but when they see that you are able to rationalize your prior experience and explain how it aligns to IT audit, they really appreciate. If I look at CVs all the time, and I will be able to point in a second that when someone has worked in some CA firm, obviously that person will not have IT audit experience or may have limited IT audit experience, right? But when if they try to align it in the way that speaks to IT audit, or how they understand IT audit. Like maybe they worked on an ERP system, and in that ERP system they learned some of these controls. So highlighting those things rather than talking about if your experience was in tax or financial analysis or business finance or accounting, etc. Don't talk about those things. Talk about whatever that work you've done, how it aligns to IT, which is what I did. If you are able to do that, hiring managers understand and appreciate that you're putting the effort to explain how your prior experience fits in. And that's all that you need. You don't need to have prior experience unless you've you've worked as uh, you know uh, a movie theater actor, right? Then you don't have prior experience. But if you're from a finance, accounting, audit professional background, you likely have encountered technology. It's very unlikely that you have not experienced technology in your life. And so that's why it's very easy to be able to rationalize your prior experience. Say, explain how that a prior experience is still technology audit related. And with the CISA and CISSP, it's very easy to then get into a beginner roles. Is there a question in chat?
Yeah, so there's a question from Jinan. Do we need to be aware of any specific Canada regulations for IT risk audit?
Yeah, that's a great question. Oh, actually, I don't have it in my presentation, but that's a really good question. Um, so please write them down because I don't have it in my presentation. Please write them down.
Mm.
Canada specific, I will tell you. There's so the OSFI, the financial institutions regulator, has come out with a regulation called the B13. It's B for Bombay and 1313. Okay. So the B13 and then E21, E for elephant, and 21. They are very straightforward, very easy to understand, probably at most 5 or 7 pages. But if you learn them very well and rationalize, explain that in your CV that you understand these two regulations, you have a very high chance of getting a job. Okay. So B13, E21. Apart from that, the there's a framework called the NIST. There's a body called the NIST. It's called the National Institutes of Standards and Technology. It's a US based body. Okay. So the NIST has come out with a cybersecurity framework. So the NIST CSF 2.0, that's the version that's in there right now. So the NIST 2.0, NIST CSF 2.0. Again, very important. If you know it, you'll, you'll be highly preferred for jobs in Canada and the US and globally, actually. Then I'll list on all, but I'm listing down in the order that are important, right, in Canada and the US. But there's many more. Okay, so I spoke about the B13 and the E21. Then there's the NIST. It's the second, I would say, in terms of importance. I would also say look for the COBIT, COBIT, the COBIT framework. Um, it is taught to you in the CISA exam anyways, but having that on your CV really helps. So the COBIT framework is again very critical and very good to know. Then the ITIL framework, ITIL. Again, this will be part of your CISSP exam, but very good if you know that. The ITIL framework. Okay. Um, I would also say go for the GDPR. That's the data privacy regulation in Europe. Even though it's Europe specific and not Canada specific, the GDPR regulation is considered a gold standard. So if you know that, then recruiters really appreciate it. But Canada specific data privacy regulations are things called CASL, CASL, Canada Anti-Spam Law, and then there's the PIPEDA. I don't remember the full form, but it's the it's the federal law for data privacy. So CASL and PIPEDA, and then in the US there's HIPAA, HIPAA. Okay, that's for regulated industries, and then the California Data Privacy Act. Again, very useful. Learn them as much as I'm giving you an order of priority. So this is way below, but if you know that, amazing. I think nothing can be more useful. Um, what else? Yeah, so there's a lot of other regulations as well. There's the DORA, DORA. That's Europe based. Again, if you know this, super useful, super helpful to have. And brownie points in your CV. And for the recruiter, they'll be really interested. What are the regulations? Um, yeah, not any more that I can think of off the top of my mind, but I'm free, like feel free to reach out if you need to, if you're more interested in regulations. Regulations and laws help you get more brownie points. So being technically proficient is great, is very important, but understanding how to deal with regulators is even more critical. And understanding these regulations gives you that. Again, out of brownie points if you know these regulations. So great question. Thanks for asking. Yeah, that's the end of my presentation actually. But if there's any questions, anything else, like I have just a light touch. My own entire objective was to explain you why getting into tech risk is great for you, to explain to you how to get into tech risk, and any other questions that please reach out to me. But if there's if there's anything else, otherwise Udit, we are actually done. Sorry.
So, um, so there's a question from Jina. Just curious, will AML be part of this niche?
No, AML is, yeah, no, AML is uh not really, yeah, it's different. Yeah, but if you're interested in AML, there's again in that's world and ICFP, you'll find many AML experts. There's CAMS and all of that. You should look for CAMS, CAMS. But yeah, AML is not. So,
Okay, so Jem, like just to make your career in this field, like you think like CISA would be enough to get started,
to get started for sure.
and
To get started,
like
that's how I got started. I got started with CISA, and then I gave exams after exams. I was supported by. I worked really hard. Okay, so
okay.
these exams are not easy. Every exam is difficult. I will say you need to be motivated, but it's not rocket science. It's very straightforward. You have to just put in the efforts. Just keep doing it, keep practicing, keep studying, and then finding those job opportunities, reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Uh, it's there's effort, but there's rewards. So
But do you think like only a graduate, like if we do CISA, and will be able to get the job, or like if CA plus CISA makes a difference for you?
so most hiring managers, there's 50%, 30-40% of the hiring managers, they are from accounting background. So if you do CA and CISA, if your CV goes to one of those 30-40% hiring managers, then they will appreciate it. Like, for example, if I see a CA plus CISA, I will appreciate it. But if
Okay.
it's a non-accounting, so 60-70% of the managers are not from a CA background. So they don't care what you've done in the past. They will only look for the CISA. So the CA plus CISA will not be any more additional advantage for them. They will only look for the CISA.
So then another question from again from Jinal. What kind of organization should we apply to get a start with?
Any large, medium, large organization. Accounting firms are looking for IT auditors all the time. SOC analyst. Somewhere will talk about SOC reports and all of that. So accounting firms are looking for them all the time. Banks, FIs, like there's not a single industry, not a single organization where IT audit is not necessary. So I think everywhere, I think it's like, except there's businesses which are run by a founder, they have a sole purpose, etc. Those are different, obviously, but any comparatively smaller, medium, large organization, they like like so, Udit talked about somewhat. So I'll like businesses are required to provide SOX, and Samarth will talk about it. SOX certificates. Otherwise, businesses don't get some further work. Right? They're required to comply with some technology regulations. Otherwise, their websites are not. They will not be allowed to function. Right? And for getting those websites to work, for getting those SOX reports, all of those things, you need IT auditors and GRC people. So absolutely, there's no dearth of organizations that hire these people.
And so what are the roles and responsibilities? Like being a CA, like a person can be a auditor, a person can be a tax consultant, person can be M&A. There are different fields, like what a person can expect after doing a CISA or
Yeah, you can expect to be IT auditors, or you can expect to be uh, governance, risk, and compliance analyst or consultant, or sorry, you can expect to be a, cybersecurity consultant, or there's also something called the SOC analyst, SOC analyst. Um, yeah, largely, yeah. But well, there's apart from being an IT auditor, there's also the non-IT audit or world where they sometimes need IT audit experience. So external auditors also need IT audit experience. So you can also be an external auditor. Yeah, those are I think high level, these are the uh, uh,
Sid, can you unmute yourself? There's a hand from Sid. Sid, you can unmute yourself. We cannot hear you.
Hello.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Jimin. Thank you so much for this session. I have one question. Means even after doing the certifications and everything, the main part which we mostly faces the experience. So even without the experience, is it is only by the certifications? Is it easy to get a job?
Yeah, I spoke about that, Sid. I don't know if you were there or not. I spoke about
Sorry,
how.
sorry, I means got into late.
Yeah, no problem. So I explained that a little bit. So if you when you what I will say is that so I when I did my CISA, I
Mhm,
moved from EY to Flipkart. I had no prior IT audit experience per se, right? So what I explained previously was that one way to do this, and I can have a conversation with you, but some of the ways you do this is to be able to present your CV in a way that it aligns to IT audit in some form or the other, right? So
mhm,
if you obviously I gave an example. If you're like a movie star, then you don't have technology experience most likely, right?
Yeah,
Or if you paint houses, then you likely don't have technology experience. But
yeah.
most others, like what do you do, Sid? Like it's unlikely that you don't have technology experience.
Yes,
Like
I'm
you
currently
work
an
with
accountant, yes,
all of
working as a tax accountant in a public accounting
you
firm.
work it as a tax accountant, right? But
Yeah,
you work on some system, some tools, right?
yeah.
So it's unlikely that people don't have technology experience, right?
Mhm,
So it's about being able to present your prior or current and prior skills in a manner that it aligns to IT audit, right? So that is the art of the set, right? And
mhm,
it is something that you have to learn on your own. I can
mhm,
help you as a mentor, as a guide, but that is
mhm,
something that you have to learn on your own. It's basically a sales trick, not a
mhm.
trick, the sales tactic. How do you
Okay.
explain your prior experience?
Mhm,
But just to tell you, I had no prior experience when I moved from EY to Flipkart.
mhm,
Uh, I joined Flipkart as the IT audit manager. I was given the task of leading IT audit for Flipkart at that point in time, right? So enormous responsibility and with no prior experience, but I was able to explain, rationalize how I can do it, right? And if I can, then everyone else can as well. And I like it was a 100% jump. So my salary jumped twice. It
mhm,
became double, right? So like it's possible, is what I will say. I talk
mhm,
about the I want everyone to understand that you don't have to sacrifice money. Like all these things, you'll get even more, is what I will say.
mhm.
Right. But it it's the art of the sale, and the art of the sale is something that is very unique to your situation and your circumstance. And if you need help, you can reach out to me, but it's the art of the sale.
Okay. Thank
So
you so
Jamie,
much.
like,
Thank you.
thank you. So Jamie, like, after clearing CISA, what a career a person can expect over here? Like, what could be the starting job and and I'm not sure what was the limit, but generally for 80% of the cases where a person lies over here, 50,
Yeah,
60%.
yeah. I don't know if someone has asked that question. I explained that in the starting as well. But so uh, starting CISA with if you like get an entry level job, bare minimum 80,000, likely 100,000 base, and then bonuses. I would say that's the start.
Okay, okay. And I think that will be a sufficient innovation, motivation for everyone to start doing CISA. It's, we can't even expect this kind of a job starting doing a CA or I'm not sure about the
Which is what I'm
CPA,
trying to
but
say.
yeah, CISA this is a starting. I don't think you can get the starting.
I
You will
IT
need to have
audit
a.
manager, IT audit manager starts at 100,000 base. So and likely people will get that. It's the lowest level. So
But you need
likely
to have some experience for this kind of a job, right? Like for
like
80,000,
I said, it's the art of the sale. So what you have done in like I have I like it's not a, a how do I say by being because this is going to be put on you. It's about explaining what you have done in the past and how it aligns to IT. If you can explain that very well, then I think it's not a big challenge.
So there's a question from Manan Halani, and this is the last question, I believe. To become a member of ISACA, are there any minimum requirements?
Yeah, like I said, so 3 years. So ISACA membership, again, if you have a university degree, then 3 years are waived off. And then you need to have 2 years of demonstrated IT audit experience. These are all attested by a standing ISACA member. So go to an ISACA member like me or anyone else and talk to them about your university degree, about what you have done in the past. Perhaps they will, you know, understand what you've done, and then perhaps they'll uh, attest your experience.
Done,
But being a
done.
member is not critical. Passing the exam is more important. Uh, Recruiters look for whether you have cleared the exam. Being a member is okay. It's not the most important.
Done. Any other questions? You can just unmute yourself. No, I think we are all good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining in today's session. Thank you, Jamin. Thanks all participants.